want to get right to it. Gene, I want to jump into it. And the way I want to start it is YouTube, this craze. So many of us, I'm gonna pick on Dave Brodzik here. So many of us are kind of caught back in time. And like Dave, up to a year ago, didn't even have a cell phone. He was still using a bag phone. But you saw this medium coming.
Yep.
You saw it. And talk a little bit about that, because we've known each other before the YouTube craze.
Yep.
But you had the insight to see this movement coming. How did you know this whole craze was coming?
I guess there's a whole bunch of things that came into where I made the decision to start making videos. But what I saw was being in the forum days and being a moderator on forums and things like that. I noticed that people would rather look at pictures and watch videos than they would read whatever the information was on there.
Yeah.
Huh.
And so it was just one of these. It was just crazy how. And I call it lazy because I was the same way. I didn't want to read a full page of whatever somebody wrote on a forum. And so I saw it coming that way. And then I had a bunch of Boy Scouts. I'm a Scoutmaster, been in the Scouts for 20 years.
Yeah.
And they wanted to learn how to fish, but I worked weekend nights at the hospital, so I couldn't take them fishing. Couldn't take my kids fishing either. And so I told them I'd make videos and put them on this new thing called YouTube.
Yeah.
That hosted videos. And
how many years ago is this? I'm sorry.
10, I think. 10 or 11 years ago.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I think YouTube was a year old. So take YouTube and but and it just one thing after another, it just kept growing and I just saw it coming. I had a TV host, and hardly anybody knows him. He's from down in Texas. I was filming with him on Kingfisher one day, and he said, "Man, nobody's making and teaching people how to fish anymore. All these TV shows, all they are is, hey, watch me fish."
Yeah.
And the light bulb went off.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm on this lake that's a private lake. I can go and catch as many fish as I need during the day. I can make 3 or 4 videos. I'm a good teacher. I'm an okay fisherman. I can make videos and teach people how to fish.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I love that, because teaching and instruction is so key. And I honestly want to tell you that it's part of growing the sport is being able to pass on knowledge and teach. I feel like there was like early fishing. Like I remember, when I was young, there was almost like a barrier where guys didn't want to teach, right? They didn't want to teach because they wanted to keep all their secrets to their chest, you know? But that kind of started going away, and I really, really believe that that's a big part of how to grow a sport is by instructing and teaching. I really believe that. And we're doing that with the Bass University. You're doing a great job with that, Pete, too.
Well, it's definitely key, because with the internet and with YouTube now, I'm seeing it like, and we've talked about this before, how did we all learn how to fish, right? Dad, uncle took us fishing. But there's billions of kids out there that don't have uncles or dads that know how to fish or have ever taken them fishing, right? So they're learning the ropes from your program, from the Bass University program, from the internet, and they're getting excited about fishing now, where they never would have before. That's got to make you feel good to be able to impact so many kids.
It's basically what drives me. What has come out of this whole thing, because all I wanted in my slogan, teaching the world to fish. All I want to do is just teach people how to fish, but it has had such an impact in people's lives. I get daily stories from addicts who spend their time on the water instead of spend their time thinking about their drugs, or dads who take their kids fishing. Or my goal is to teach a dad so he can be the hero and teach his kids.
Yeah,
that's cool, because I can be the hero, but I'd rather dad be the hero.
Sure.
And it's awesome. I got to tell you, I keep jumping back to today, but even today, I'm sitting by watching and talking to people, and I'm looking over, and you've got kids coming up that want to take their picture with you and want your autograph. That's awesome. That's amazing that I saw that today.
And I always knew that was going to be a side effect to what I did. It was never the popularity, the money, that whatever. It was not important. It still isn't important. I don't care how many subscribers I have. I just want to do this. Now,
I got to ask this. I'm sure it's coming up a million times on our board already, but a lot of people watching want to know, how'd you get your name, Gene? How'd you get Flukemaster?
Back in man, it must have been 2001, 2002. I think I was still stationed in Hawaii at the time, or just got to Fort Gordon, and I signed up for my first fishing forum. It was the old bass fishing homepage that really doesn't exist much anymore, and I needed to come up with a screen name. Well, I was still kind of new into the serious bass fishing scene. Figured out what a fluke was, and I said, man, I just want to learn how to catch a fish on this every day I go fishing. And so it was kind of a motivational thing. I said, okay, call myself the Flukemaster, and I just typed it in, and then I went on to like Bass Resource and Bass Boat Central and stuff like that, and I just kept the same name. So come time to pick the brand name for when this YouTube thing started getting serious, most people don't know my original channel name was The Fishing Partner. And all of the guys that knew me from the forum days said, what in the world are you thinking? You know, why aren't you calling yourself the Flukemaster? So I did a little Google analytics search to see how people were finding my channel, and it was fishing, bass fishing, and Flukemaster was number 3.
Wow.
So they picked it for me, and that's why I have the YouTube channel called Flukemaster.
Wow.
And it just stuck. I can't get away from it.
That's awesome. Is it a strange feeling to know that you were kind of one of the pioneers of it that started this whole fishing YouTube craze?
It was never anything I thought about.
Right.
Really. It's just, it's cool. I mean, it's really neat. It's neat to be able to look back and say, look at what has accidentally happened.
Yeah.
You know, just from a passion.
Yeah.
You know, just from the love of being able to do it. I was, years ago, my wife and I arguing about this whole thing. It was back when I was spending more money on YouTube than I was bringing into the house. And the argument was, I finally looked at her and said, look, honey, I have never asked for any of this. This is kind of all the stuff that happened up to that point. People had asked me, and I felt good about it, so I did it.
Yeah.
One thing after the other, and all of a sudden I'm sitting here in a place and I'm like, this is my calling in life. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
How can I continue it? And so that's what it's all been about that. I'm totally serious with you. All I ever want to do, any business decision I make, I just want to teach people how to fish.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have anything to do with it, I don't have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
So what did you do before YouTube?
I was an X-ray tech. I joined the military. Was in the Army for 6 years. 6 years of that, I shot. All 6 years, I was an X-ray technician.
Okay.
And then I got out and got a real job, shooting X-rays. Still the same thing at the Medical College of Georgia in Augusta, and it's a trauma center. And I work weekend nights, and so I got to see some really cool stuff.
So you left that job for YouTube?
Yeah, a very well-paying X-ray tech job.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing.
And if I had to guess, that part of Augusta, because of the competition between hospitals, I was one of the highest paid X-ray techs in Georgia.
Yeah.
Or in that group. I don't think I was the highest, but
That's
we
awesome.
were up there.
What the hell dumb ideas did I have in 2007 instead of that one? You know what I mean? I'm trying to think what preposterous freaking idea I had.
But this brings up a good point, though. So we're telling this success story, Gene, of you doing something that you love, being able to quit your job. Now you get to do this thing you love full time.
Yep.
We've got thousands of people right now watching and listening that have, up to this show, that have been kicking it over. Man, I want to get into this YouTube thing. I want to try this digital content thing. What would you tell them if they're watching right now and they're, they see dollar signs, they see the guys like you, they see the Googans, they see all these guys making real money, doing what they love to do. Are they okay to pursue that dream? What would you tell them? The
one thing I tell everybody, and I get that question all the time: start. Don't say I'm about to.
Right.
If you haven't, if you come to me and say I'm about to, it's like going on a diet.
Right.
I'm going to go on a diet tomorrow, and then the next day, and the next day.
Yeah.
Start is one.
Yeah.
And then and everything's going to progress. You're going to get more and more knowledgeable about what it takes to do YouTube.
Yeah.
Then the number one other thing is what you say: never give up.
Yeah.
Do not quit. If you really want to make it happen, do not quit.
Yeah.
It may be 3 or 4 years down the road.
Yeah.
It may be, but if you don't quit, it's going to work out, because there's a certain number of people in this world that like you.
Yeah.
And I'll tell that to the camera. That like you. It may not be 1 million or 2 million. It may be 200,000.
Right.
But there's a certain number of people in this world that are going to like what you're doing, and you may be able to get some milk money out of it.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is don't do it for the money.
Right.
Because if you do it for the money, it's only going to last a short amount of time.
Right.
And there's another thing you need. That and what you're selling yourself short on is you got to be a communicator.
Yes.
If you're one of those guys that are telling a story and your friends are already looking for an out 2 sentences in, then you need to learn how to talk. You know what I mean? Like you're going to put people to sleep.
Yep, and that comes with time.
Yeah.
I wasn't great in front of the camera when I started.
Yeah.
My first 25 videos no longer exist. I deleted every one of them.
Right.
And so
Brian wanted to know that. Brian, that was one of Brian's
I still have
things.
one, and it's the very first
So
one on
you've
my
deleted
channel.
the first 25 videos you ever made.
Yep.
Dave, we might need to delete 3 years of Ike Live
I
because
know.
they've all
Yes,
been
I
pretty
remember.
bad.
I remember the first one.
Oh yeah. They brought another married couple in to replace me. They brought in the Solies. That was real fun. That was such a
Married
hoot.
couple.
Yeah, that was so fun. Let's do that one again.
What about gear? I mean, does a guy wanting to do this, can he do it with a GoPro and a laptop, or does he need to get more advanced than that?
I think a GoPro would work okay, but I had to modify the heck out of GoPros. And what I tell them is a GoPro is perfect for on the boat stuff because a perfect frame is an arm's length plus 6 inches. But I have to make audio work, and I have to make the video work, and I have to hope that the wind doesn't kill it.
Yeah.
I have a $620 camera or a microphone that I use because audio has given me so many problems over the years. I've ruined thousands of hours or thousands of minutes of videos because of audio.
Right.
And so I'm not saying go do that, but get a camera that shoots in 1080p at 30 frames a second, and make sure your audio's good, and then go from there. I don't care what kind of a camera it is.
Yeah. It's a good tip. That's a good tip.
Well, that's what a lot of people want to know because everybody's just doing the GoPro thing.
Yeah, or then use your cell phone. My biggest thing about a cell phone: don't use it this way. Turn it sideways and take a video.
Why is that?
Because it doesn't look like crap.
It's screwed up on the frame.
It looks like you actually used a good professional camera, but
Okay.
You ever watch the fights on World Star and they hold the camera the wrong way and then you can't open the screen up real
can't
big?
see it.
You got to go
It
sideways.
makes it a little tiny.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the biggest mistake I see young kids do that have an iPhone is they do all their videos like this. Turn it sideways.
While we're talking here, I'm checking out our social feeds, and we've got Charlie has a pretty decent question. He says, "Flukemaster, what's up with the Georgia hat?" You want to give a little story on that?
Yeah, pretty simple. When I first started my videos, started getting serious about them. My first few videos, I had like a tan hat on because I worked at Kingfisher, and that was their hat. Kingfisher is like a private lake. I was a private fishing caddy, is all I was. And so my little brother.
Well, but I like I need a flipping stick and hand him
Yeah, exactly. No, I sat in the middle of the boat and took the fish off the hook for these old rich guys, and they were great people. I mean, I had wonderful clients.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was sitting in the middle of the boat, driving the boat with a remote control because we had the digital trolling motor up front.
Wow.
And they 2 guys fishing, and they paid like $1,000 a head to fish there.
Dang.
Oh my gosh.
Well, the bluegill are 1.5 pound average, and 1 in 20 will be 2 pounds plus, and then the bass average 5 to 6 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So what were we talking about before I got off on that tangent?
The hat.
The hat.
Sorry.
Dave messes it up for sure.
I'm real bad with that, dude.
So-
you hear me talk? Think about what you said as soon as I start talking, and then you got to go back. I'm bad with that. I've always been.
So my little brother, who we fought like cats and dogs growing up, but we're now really good friends. He's got a master's degree, or he's got a degree in marketing. I don't know if it's a master's degree or not, but he's got a degree in marketing. And he looked at me. He said, "Dude, if you're going to do this," he said, "you better get a hat." I'm like, "What?" He goes, and he doesn't know who Bill Dance is.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a Bill Dance thing. He said, nobody's going to recognize you or know who you are because you look like every other dude out there.
Right.
He said, you better get yourself a hat. And I said, well, there's only one hat that I would wear if I was going to wear the same hat all day long, and it's my Georgia Bulldog hat.
Yeah.
Because I'm a diehard Georgia fan.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how it happened.
Cool.
And I wore it in every video since.
Good story.
Wow.
Yeah, until this next month.
Until
Oh, we have a hat change?
a title sponsor?
Now, somebody buttered him up.
Wait a minute. Are you announcing this for the first time?
Yes, I am.
Okay, here's a premiere. Brian the Carpenter, we need a full screenshot on Gene right now. This is a big announcement. Full screenshot. Here it goes.
First of all, do a screenshot of that football right there.
Okay, Brian,
All right.
let's go back
to the
to
football.
our memorial.
Okay.
Mark McCown
Mass
memorial
Sergeant-
in the back.
Mass Sergeant Mark McCowan was a good friend of mine. And see if I can do this without tearing up. He had such a profound effect on me and the way I do things and the way I think about things and how hard I work at what I do. When he passed away, I promised the guys from his fishing team, which have all become real good friends of mine, that I would take up the responsibility of promoting Special Ops Survivor.
Yeah.
And Mark's big drive.
Yeah.
And so when I get my new Illumicraft in a couple of weeks, I have a carpet decal, and I'm going to change to the Special Ops Survivor hat for 6 months to a year. I haven't decided how long yet.
Yeah.
And going to promote Special Ops Survivor for that period of time.
Wow.
Right on.
That's so
That's awesome.
Because what Special Ops Survivor
Freaking
does.
awesome right there.
Have you guys ever talked about what it does?
Oh yeah.
You got all these wives and children. Their husbands and father goes away overseas and loses his life doing something. They don't know where he's at. They don't know what he was doing. They don't know any details, and they're left to go on with life. And Special Ops Survivor helps them go on with life.
Yeah.
So
yeah, awesome
Wow.
program,
Yeah.
and what an
Noble
awesome
cause.
thing to do.
Yeah.
What an awesome thing.
My
to
little guy wore the
Congratulations
hat
on
today
that.
at the event.
Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
4 of them in my truck. They're just
Yeah.
waiting on it. Yeah.
do. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome. It's amazing how many people Mark has impacted.
Golly, you're
Isn't
not
it,
kidding.
dude?
Isn't it
He's
crazy?
he's just one of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we talk about it all the time. The fishing industry is small. It's big, but it's
It's
small.
small. Yep.
But how many people in the fishing industry were touched by Mark? It's amazing.